Lando, Steady. I'm going to put you guys in the hot seat as well, Lando. Starting with you, baby. Who do you have in this series, man?
Oh, I got to say, you guys have made some excellent claims so far, but I'm going to rock with New York. I am. I'm going to go with the New York Subliners.
Like
all right, you know, bing bong, that's for sure. I'm getting some booze, and hey, you know what? It's all good. Although the crowd was just for New York, by the way. I don't know how it just turned in a matter of like 15 seconds, but I'm going to go with 3-1. I get Boston breach a map. You know what? No, I'm going to go game 5. Screw it. Game 5.
Okay, I respect it.
Yeah, how about
Bella,
you?
you don't even need to ask me the question because you know exactly where I'm going. New York 100%. I feel like we've been dominating that rivalry for a really long time. It's just another stepping stone for the NYSL to come out here and get the job done.
Oh, boy. I'm excited for this one. This is going to be great.
I'm so excited. So wait. Yo, Jay, you telling me right now there's just no upset potential in this matchup right here?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think, like, you got veterans on the opposite side for NYSL. These guys have done it multiple different times. And on the fact of that Boston have 2 rookies, their first main stage match, they're going to probably against the 2 players that they've watched through their entire career. There's going to be some jitters there. If they can equal that out, it's going to be a little scary. But I still got New York. They're going to handle it.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys know at home. If you think Lando's smart, yeah, we're all right about that. But the guy's an absolute nerd. In the green room, he brought binders with like notes and stats.
Oh, he's the man.
On everything, Lando. Do you have it with you?
I got the binders here. You know, I got the binders. It's all good. You know?
Everybody's favorite nerd, right? All right, yo, Lando, let me ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
You're rocking with NYSL. But in Boston's case, if they were to make this game closer, even happen to win it, who do you think would step up, or why do you think this team would even be in that position?
If we're talking about Boston specifically,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it has to be on Cap. To me, I think if you're going to be talking about a player in specific, I'm looking at Capsidal. I think to be a little bit different, because I know that's obviously what aLLeY brought up, I am looking at TJ as well. I think we can all agree that TJ is a player that when he is frying, when he is at the top of his game, this is going to be a complete team. So if the rookies step up the way that we expect them to, or that we hope that they can, I feel like TJ is the guy that gets them over the edge. And hey, I love me some Fat Bob, that's for sure.
For me, nah, I'm not going Cap. My main focus has to be on Nero. Like, I've been watching this guy ever since he was in Challengers. He's a phenomenal player from top to bottom. S&D, hardpoint, doesn't matter. And I've watched him throughout scrims for the last couple of weeks. He is their top slayer. Like, when he goes to a Gavutu control, when they get to that map 3, he's going to be that guy pulling out the third AR, just making it look easy. The guy has the potential to be an all-star, and I can't wait to see him play.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Desk, thank you guys so much for setting us up and allowing for us to give some of our expert analysis, even though you guys absolutely hold it down. But here we go, folks. It is time, Arlington. New York versus Boston, and the rivalry begins in the cage.
And here we go. That's going to be 3 early kills going in favor of Boston. So they're going to start off with the initial time on this hard point. They're spawning all of NYSL back Grandma, so this is going to be a good chunk of time going in favor of Boston. You see what Nero's doing, just being super aggressive. He knows the spawns. They're still picking up those kills in the middle of the map, but Neptune's going to be able to find 3 in the feed. Fortunately, he does get dropped, but the spawns do flip for New York.
And you can just see the instant impact that a player like Neptune has in this series. I mean, you talked about it, Jay. The skill that he had on the Mutineers, which was incredible, a little inconsistent, but playing with guys who maybe didn't fit him the best, who couldn't promote him the way that we can expect to with Clay and Crim. His potential on this map and with this group, and now alongside an incredible SMG player like HyDra, it is terrifying, but a very low-scoring affair over at P1. Meanwhile, it's time for Field, and it's Boston who are there early.
And you look at New York, they're still having the spawns coming in from back stables. They're still going to be 2 dead in the feed. Methodz hitting shots like that. Him and TJ all over the kill feed, holding this hill from the front side. They find all 4. They're able to flip the spawns, and this has been a great start for this young Boston roster.
It absolutely has. Methodz finally gets taken down off of that 4 spree. And Methodz, man, like I said, this is a huge series for this guy as well, Jay. We talked about it. This is the opportunity to kind of revive his career after Toronto Ultra last season. He's the face of this team. He's the face of this franchise, this new brand. And like we said, his stream's been kicking off, but his skill in this team, rather for this team, is incredible. Also is going to be one of the vocal leaders for this roster as well. A great start for Zen. But the final few seconds going down over at Field, a neck-and-neck game. But when it comes down to our next hard point, it's going to be New York with spawns to start. But TJ trying to get up and aggressive inside a kitchen, but he gets made quick work of.
And the way you want to set up around this hill, obviously you want to have that back control, but the main focal point has to be this kitchen area. Neptune so far, he's holding it down to the T. One player in Methodz is trying to work his way towards the lower tanks area, and that's actually going to allow Boston to start spawning in the back. That's going to completely throw New York off. That's going to be a clean 4 dead, Boston to break in.
Impressive stuff there, right? from the Boston Breach. Methodz, the farthest pushed up player. HyDra making quick work of him, but 35 very valuable points still left inside of bottom house or grandma's, depending on how you like to call it. But this is exactly where Neptune loves to reign at 3 in a row. Ton of engagements to start, and he's going to have quite a few more as this Bocage game is still early in it. Skinny turn on Methodz, not going to be the case, but Crim is going to be there for the return. 15 left, and right now it's Breach. Mere seconds going back and forth. And right now, Capsidal, a little bit of a slower start at 4-9.
Right now, they do have the lead. They did lose the spawns for that barn hill, so that's going to allow New York to set up nice and early for that one. Potentially take the lead here. As you still see 2 New York players pushed up in towards Grandma's. Crim and Clay going absolutely huge, picking up every single kill in the feed. Last player up is going to be Capsidal. But they have so much pressure out towards Plat. Cap able to find one. Clayster still holding down his tank area. So far, they have taken the lead. This has been a great hold from New York.
We'll see how Barn looks at times. Teams will kind of rank this as one of the money hills of this map, even if you want to even label a map, or rather a rotation on Bocage as a money hill. But a good start for the moment for New York. A time to take a breather, and right back into the action is Capsidal from the top of the stairs. He gets dropped. HyDra and Crim, some great team shots for the start. With 18 seconds left, we'll see how they can manage the middle side of the map. As Zenni turning on Crim, and that'll be 4 down for Boston. The crowd getting loud for this team, but let's go ahead and step aside and go to a listen with NYSL.
Let's one trench. Nero. Okay. Let's trench. They might spawn here.
One shot tower. One shot back tower. Laying down back tower. Laying down back tower. Like right there. Laying down.
Nice.
There's
I'm
two.
pushing out long. I'm pushing out long.
On you. Nice. Zero dead. Get to. I got time. I'll get time.
I'll play tower. What's in the back? What's in the back?
Yeah. I'll get time.
On the back. Yeah. One's going long on me.
I'm stunning over you, Porter.
Stunning. Yeah. Fight queen though. Yeah. Watch the tower.
I got naded.
I killed one.
One shot. I naded another one, Porter. I naded another one.
Okay.
What dead? Fucking
The last guy right. Dead. Nice. Pushing out the back.
Turn, Paco, turn.
Yeah, we flip now. I'm watching Z.
I'm getting naded.
Z on me. Come sit down. I'm watching mid and gate.
In one shot trench. Deep trench.
Bottom.
I got one. Trench heading one shot. He's one shot there.
He's going top. I got him. Oh, yeah, I got him. Last guy.
Wait,
Good time. Get ready to bomb. Watch left too. Yeah. Get ready to bomb.
Dead middle.
I'm getting native from trench. One deep trench, I'm pretty sure.
Bottom barn, one bullet.
Go.
Top barn, one shot. Nero.
Top
grandma. Gate.
Gate. Bench. Oh shit. Got him.
Porter trying to stay alive.
Come with me.
Help
me clears. Yo, one's pushing me out. Tank. Dead.
Gate spot, maybe mid hunt, Porter.
Mid hunt. Yeah, he's weak. In my bench.
One shot mid hunt. One shot. Bench. One shot.
No, bench. Yeah. Let's go. Bottom gate. Watch out gate. I'm coming right with you, Porter. He's gonna be smart. Yeah. He's top roof.
And there you have it. First set of rotations are done and dusted, and so far it has been all NYSL. Some good moments from Breach, but I gotta say, Jay, one player that I'm really impressed with has gotta be Crim. I mean, he's looking great on the SMG.
Yeah, I know, that's completely throwing me off, man. But their comms right there and that listening was beautiful. Everyone was stepping up in that column. They knew exactly what they needed to do. Hey, I'm spawning out. There's still potentially one more player back there. And eventually they got the job done and had a phenomenal hold on P5 to grow the lead that they have now. Now off the rotation, only 10 seconds left on this P1. They find 3. They are able to secure the spawns. And once again, New York should be in a position to grow this lead even more.
Yeah, they got preferred spawns, as you mentioned. They've also got quite a few players lingering to the middle side of the map. One of those being Clayster, trying to lock down a few of these pushes that are trying to, of course, flip those spawns. TJ, meanwhile, inside of dirt, he gets dealt with too. Great spot right now for the Subliners as Breach struggling really just to get past Grandma's. That middle side of the map is totally cleared out, and now here comes an opportunity for the fight. NYSL, they hop off and maybe allow for Clay to try and grab a pick. Sits on 5 in a row. Streaks very well could be in his future. Takes down one. That's going to be the Clay. And those will be double streaks. Great plays coming in from Clay as a look to try and extend it. 23 seconds left, but it has been all New York so far at field. Boston pretty much walking away with their tail between their legs because they have to rotate for the next one. Clay continuing to dominate on a map that's not necessarily fit for the weapon of choice, but he is using that auto to the best of its ability and maybe even contesting a few players off the side. Does get shut down from Nero in a sweat off the brow situation for Boston as now they set up in house.
Staying clear of Clayster. He's just been an absolute 8 kill spree just made it look easy. Now he has those kill streaks to work with as you get towards the later hard points, but that's going to be a clean 4 dead. New York just breaking with ease. You see the positioning out of Crim. He's slowly working up because he knows this has to be the way that they rotate into this hard point. He's eventually going to drop. New York is still holding control, but on the opposite side you have Clayster set up, still putting them in that spawn trap, and New York have been uncontested so far in this P3 hard point. This lead is getting absurd.
Yeah, this is getting quite scary on this one as HyDra walking through bullets there versus Methodz. But an interesting setup and kind of applies to the roster that you have as Clay and Crim continue to go on sprees. Like I said, they had 2 players on either side of the spawn with the SMGs inside of the house. A picture-perfect start for the Subliners, at least in these last few hills. Methodz even pulling out an SMG just to try to get some work, trying to change the script a little bit. Takes down 2, but it is NYSL who reached the double century mark.
And let me tell you, Crim has a strafing run to work with. Clayster is fully streaked out. 200 to 100. This is a beat down right now. We usually don't see this on a map like Bocage. It doesn't happen, but New York, they have been in the driver's seat this entire time, but Boston, they were able to flip these spawns. They can get right back into this game with a great hold on this P4 hardpoint.
Yeah, a massive hill already for the Boston breach, in which could very well decide the game in terms of if NYSL can continue to roll or if Boston, this could be their chance to bring it on back. Neptune overall winning the trades, and look at those engagements already. 31 and 21 out of Neptune. His Methodz again trying to do all the dirty work he can through the middle side of the map. NYSL continually putting themselves in the favorable positions, making a dent, but that really seems to be just about it. Final 10 here at Barn. New York now within 20 seconds of closing out this Bocage. Great starts pretty much from everybody, and here comes the streak. Clay calling out the glide bomb, giving at least information over to his teammates. And they're continuing to win the fights.
238 and climbing. Only need 12 points away from closing out this game. New York have played this flawlessly. Look at Crimsix sitting at 32 and 28, really stepping up in the SMG role. And I know he has to be feeling really confident with that stat line because usually Crim is an AR guy. But the fact that he's going to be that flex player, he's stepping up tremendously right now alongside Neptune.
What can Boston do? I can literally hear Clay from the stage myself, as that's going to be 2, make it 3, 4 down in the feed as New York continue to roll. Crim is beaming with an SMG from range, for God's sake.
He's still alive.
5 more points, and Crim, he's still alive, 36 and 28, leading the lobby. We had questions about if he could even run the roll, let alone lead the lobby in kills. They can't win it off of this hill, but you gotta think they're in the best of situations. A 5 spree right now for the GOAT, make it 6 in a row, final 2 points, and that will be it. A statement on Bocage, as it's the veterans leading the way.
And that threw me off, man. I thought it was going to be HyDra and Neptune really leading the show, but Crimsix stepping up when he needed to the most, man. That's what makes him the most winning COD player of all time. He had great plays, picking up kill streaks left and right, but I think the turning point of the game had to be that P4 hardpoint, the P2 hardpoint. When Clayster was able to go on that 8 spree and pick up those kill streaks, in the back of the mind for all the Boston players is that P5 hardpoint is going to be basically impossible to try to get a hold on.
Right.
That's why they allowed Crimsix to push up to that back tank, basically get a 4-piece as they were running out of their spawn, and New York just made that look so easy on a map that shouldn't be that easy.
Yeah, not at all. Like so it throws you off. It totally throws me off too. Like, you know, we were expected to see Neptune and HyDra, which they had solid games as well, but it is the veterans. It is Crim showing off that SMG shot. He's been putting in some work with the MP40, and clearly it is paying off. New York, a statement hardpoint victory there on Bocage. As we'll take a look through a majority of these highlights, but I mean, Jay, like you said, there was a number of different moments, some hills in particular, but those streaks were huge, and I felt like there were different moments where New York, they were able to slow the game down, much like how we saw Seattle Surge do in their prior match on this very hardpoint. Slow the game down, allow for the aggression of this team, and really allow for, rather, the Boston Breach to run into that aggression of the Subliners. Really just an excellent game plan all the way around.
Yeah, what New York were able to do was pick up every single kill at the same exact time. Right. They were getting a clean 4 dead, which basically leaves the hill uncontested for about 10 to 15 seconds. but they were just holding it down, picking up those streaks, holding down their lanes, and forcing them to spawn all the way out. Like on their P2, it was absolutely stunning. Even though Methodz, he was trying to contest it from the front side, once Clayster takes him down, he pushes up to the tank, they're going to be spawning all the way out towards back tower. Yeah. And they just made it super easy for NYSL to just get uncontested time and eventually walk away with map 1.
Yeah, and you see the moment that we're discussing, right? The plays coming in from Clay, Crimsix as well. Just excellent, excellent end to what is a chaotic map on Bocage. Just excellent shots out of the veterans, but still, that's kind of shocked you a little bit, right? If you're the Boston Breeze.
Untradeable kills, non-tradable. 25, 26, 26.
Yeah.
Someone's got to get a trade on Boston.
You definitely
You can't win a map like that.
No, and I think the score indicates exactly why that's the case. You know, 50 to 140. Not a solid start for the Boston Breach, but still, I think that we discussed coming into this series how important it is for the rookies, right, to get that first map under their belt. It's going to be a chance for them to really show off their SMG skills, to show off that reaction time, all of those things, and they're losing it to the oldest players in the league.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense to me. And then keep in mind, they're also 3 weeks delayed on practice.
Yeah.
This is what makes them veterans. This is what makes them some of the best of all time.
They literally played, I think they had 12 days of solid practice in New York.
And that's absurd, man. But the fact that you have Crimsix and Clayster, these guys have done it multiple times. Any situation, they can get your job done, and they make it look easy on that map number 1. So now we're going into a Tuscan Search and Destroy. And this is where those reps really come into hand. Because Boston, like I said, they've been putting a lot of practice. Watch them play Search. They're a great Search and Destroy team. But if you lose this Search and Destroy here, this is where Clayster's going to start roaring, and the NYSL roster is just going to have so much confidence to close it out.
Like I said, I could literally hear Clay from here.
From here.
Like, I have a nice little bird's eye view of the stage, but I got to be like, what? I don't know how many feet away, but like I said, Clay is already getting loud on the stage, and that has got to shake you up a little bit, considering that this is a debut for both Cap and Nero. But at the same notion, when we talk about those two players, they're known as Search and Destroy specialists. Capsidal specifically, Nero, of course, very well known for their Search and Destroy game. There's been a lot of people talking about how if Boston can be great at hardpoint, that would be perfect, because this roster is well suited for a game mode like this one in Search and Destroy. But again, it creates a bigger emphasis. If you drop this, how does that control look? But you got to focus in. Methodz has got to rally the troops and make sure that they're prepared for anything and everything that New York will throw at you on a map like Tuscan.
Yeah, Tuscan is going to be an absolute, it's going to be so fast, man. Clayster's actually going to have the sniper out towards the left side, but you see the pressure coming in from mid-map. Crimsix actually able to find 2 before Cap was able to find 1. So now in a 3v2 advantage. HyDra's able to spot Methodz, hits him with a nade. He's going to be a little bit hurt, but he does have that bomb. Just keep paying attention to where Nero is on the mini-map. Able to find that kill on HyDra, make it a 2v2.
That's still alive, Clay. Shot whistles past the ear of Methodz is now. With that bomb, see what they can do with it. Still lingering through the middle side of the map, and player 1 and player 8 very well could meet soon, as now it's all going to be on to Crim. It's going to have to be the aces. That's going to be 3 to start. Can he turn on the Methodz? Not going to happen. It got a little dicey there for a moment. The hat trick there from Crim, but it's Methodz who sets the tone in the first round.
And that's good work right there out of Boston, because defenses are kind of hard on this map to try to win. Usually on the offensive side, it's all about taking control of that middle map, getting that A-bomb as fast as possible down, so then you can just play the man advantage if you do find that first blood. But once Boston was able to attack middle first, it completely threw off the way that New York wanted to play that round. Cap, even though he was only able to find 1, Nero works his way through the late flank to even up the numbers, and then eventually finds the second to close out the round.
All right, now it's Boston Breach's turn again. We know how attack works on this map. You're going to see A hit quite a bit, and no shock that one smoke is going to be tossed there, but the nade spot out of Crim. Excellent work to stop the early plant, and HyDra with the engagement on the Cap is the wave goodbye for now.
And just look at the mini-map. Look at what Clayster, the positioning he was able to get. He's going to be their side view. And he does have that sniper, so you hear that rat going off. He does have a great trigger finger, even though he's kind of old. But Neptune's able to at least find the second, force it to be a 4v2 situation now.
Now it's all on the TJ and Methodz. What can they look to do? Again, that early nade just totally sets the tone. As Methodz falls, it's all on to TJ. Takes down 1 onto Crim. NYSL aware of his position. And again, the attacking side already displaying its struggles, especially if you have some good mid control.
That's just good work by Crimsix, hitting that nade on the player on bomb. Once that player drops, that allowed Clayster to push all the way up the A street. I don't know why Boston didn't have anyone on that side of the map, but that was the game changer of the round as they were able to clutch up there. Now they're going into another offensive round. We saw the way that Boston attacked it on defense was being all-out aggressive towards middle. They're probably going to slow it down here because Crim was able to pick up a couple kills that last round, sitting at 5-2, having himself one hell of a series.
This is a great start already from Crim.
Here we go.
Is it going to be the snipe? Does not look like it, at least based off the mini-map, but it's Crim again with the nades. The nade spots out of the vet will then set up the plant from Neptune. Some great utility already from the Subliners as Capsidal looks to try to ruin this setup, but bing bong from Clayster. A good old headshot there on the Cap as we say goodbye to Methodz as well, and good night to Nero. A plant, a round secured, and again, the wonderful nades.
Just great first blood coming in from Crim. Once they find that first blood, even though the bomb was already planted, that's usually how we see a lot of our offensive rounds on Tuscan. You work that A plant quick, you play your man advantages. Unfortunately, right there, if I'm Nero, if you would have took the long route around the back alley, you find Clayster. Unfortunately for him, he got sniped in the back, bing bong, and now that's going to be New York up 2-1.
By the way, crowd, anytime we see a sniper from New York,
yeah, it's
we're
bing
calling
bong, guys.
It's bing bong. Yep, it's official. We just go ahead and decided it. And that's the way we're going to roll. 2-1. Already for New York. Again, Crim having a great start. And there is another first blood. Whether it's nades or the shot, he is out for blood. As there goes TJ, one of the faster rounds that we've seen. Methodz wondering, what just happened to my teammates? He drops in a convincing round again from New York. Clay can't believe it.
Crim has continuously opened up with that first blood. It's throwing them off. The fact that he went top church the first defensive round, then the second round he goes bottom church and commits to the gunfight. You usually do not see people commit to the gunfight because if you go to the opposite alley and you're sitting on that little head glitch, it's usually a free kill. But Crim, the player that he is, the most winning player of all time, he's going to be confident in every single engagement. Makes it look easy. And I love the play call for them to just be super aggressive on that A-bomb while Crim was challenging mid. Just great coordination from New York.
I'm just curious what Crim has in store next. I mean, like, are we actually going to see another nade to start? Oh, you bet we will. You bet we will. Is it going to land?
Look at the strategy coming in from New York. He's actually going to commit this toward B. Nero's, he's going to be able to find one at least. But Clayster not able to spot him through the wood. Going to force it to a 2v2. Methodz finds 2. Now it's all on Crim. Already on a 4 spree. Does not have that bomb to work with. Has the potential to pick up some streaks here if he can clutch this one up.
See how he looks to play it. TJ hanging out toward the tank. A matchup that I look forward to every single time. You know, seeing TJ versus Crim, there's some history there. For the, you know, it feels extra good to take away Crim, given the nice little rivalry between the two, but also because Crim has been destroying you, to be quite frank.
Crim has been absolutely dominating so far throughout this series. But this is a good answer for Boston. Slowly but surely just creeping their way back into this game. Down 3-2 now. Going into an offense. Capsidal not having the best of a game, sitting at 1-5. But it's all about just working this A-bomb. Just get it down as fast as you can.
Early sniper battle, you know that Clay's got it as well, and he's got the better shot. The veteran showing the rookie a few tricks as well. As he'll lock down field, again, the first bloods favoring the side of the Subliners. And that plant, it is going to get down. Crim with instant visuals through the middle side of the map, so they've got quite a few lanes right now due New York. As Nero takes down Clay, it is a 2 versus 3. Subliners with man count advantage, but that looks to potentially change. Methodz quick to get out of dodge. Meanwhile, it's Nero who has to make sure that nobody is going to be on the defuse. Methodz playing the long route, able to bring it to a 2 versus 2. Time continues to tick away. HyDra and Crim looking to go for the play. Smoke begin to dissipate, but here comes Nero. And once more, Boston Breach fighting back again.
And that was a 2v4. That round was specifically all on Nero. The fact that he won his one-on-one versus Clayster, obviously Clayster has a sniper, but then he continuously pushes through, flanks the guy in towards church, and allows his teammate to just work it. All you have to do, Methodz, is get 1 kill. He got that done, and then Nero closes out the round. Just great plays from Nero to call the adjustments on the fly. 2v4s usually don't happen, but they get the job done there.
Yeah, and sometimes plays like that, clutches like that, can get you back mentally into a series, get some confidence under yourselves. As they'll bring it now to a 3-3 scoreline. Some early checks from that mid alley, and I think it's fair to say, Cap, learning from that prior round, you don't want to contest Clay, especially right now.
You see New York, they're delaying their A plant. They know that eventually this attack has to come through middle, but Nero with the good first blood on the HyDra. TJ finds Neptune. So now it's all on the vets. Just try to clutch up a 2v4 of their own. Bomb is going to be down on that A bomb. Clayster does have that snipe, but the way that Boston are set up right now, they have full rotation to B. They have everything at middle map, and they know the bomb is down A. This is going to be a difficult round for New York.
Methodz watching out for Cap right as he tossed the nade. Could have been the opportunity for a shot, but Crim. The early kill on the Methodz. Also has the bomb as well. Cap has pushed up. And Crim knows someone's going to have to go for him eventually. Nero making the long route. Meanwhile, Clay making a route of his own. He'll reference all the way back.
He's going to plan it.
In toward B. In Boston, they're not prepared for this at all. Look how far pushed up that they are at A. Meanwhile, Clay's on the opposite side of the map.
Now they cannot lose track of Crimsix. You see number 5 on the Capsidal.
They have.
Trying to still locate him, but Crim's able to find the second on the round. Almost for the third, as TJ's going to win a huge one-on-one. So now it's on Clay in a 2v1 situation.
He's got the sniper in the best of positions. Watching over that bomb continually. Cap and TJ, a huge round for them. As Cap will hop on the defuse, spots TJ, bing bong for the first. And he'll toss out a fake shot. Cap, he hops off the defuse. Cap hops off the defuse, the shot scared him. In fact, and again, Clay.
Let me tell you, I'm so happy the sniper's back. Because I live for those moments. And so does he. What a clutch coming out of Clayster. Like I said, stand clear of Clayster. Making it look easy. Another 2v4, back-to-back rounds. Both of the Redevans getting the job done. Just great plays from Clayster, playing the clock beautifully. That round, if TJ doesn't over-challenge right there, it's probably a little different. But Clayster knew, I know TJ, he's coming back. I should be able to win this one. Great round out of Clay.
We love the sniper. We absolutely love it. Are we going to get a treat again? Maybe later. Maybe later. Nero trying to toss all those strategies out the window as he'll just run right into church and take 2 of his own. Changing the tide as HyDra is able to trade him on out. It would be another 2 versus 4 clutch, but it's all on to Neptune, and that's a good start for him. Does get cut down inside a radio. But again, you love that play out of Nero to try to change up the pace a little bit, runs right to the middle of the map, gets inside of church, takes down 2, catching the Subliners off guard.
Just great work out of Nero right there. Like you said, man, he just knows the opening on the map. He knows that Clayster's been sniping aLLeY every single time. So as long as you find that first kill in church, it's a free 2-piece. He, no hesitation, broke through that door and find that second kill. Just great work out of Boston to not let the previous round get to him. Tied at 4-piece. This can go either way now.
See what New York have got planned. Early utility toss from Nero over the top, and not feeling nearly as comfortable with that A plant for obvious reasons. As they'll reestablish some control inside a well, as they'll hide out for the moment while the other Subliner players look to try to find that early pick. You notice Clayster toward the top side of the map. Something to keep in mind as the pressure on the church only looks to elevate, but a plant with nobody looking, that one's going to go down scot-free, and HyDra as well. Takes TJ's head right off Crim with the instant reply. It's all down to Nero in just a matter of moments. But what can he do from top fire? 30 seconds left. And what a huge clutch this could be. Set the tone in that last round, but Clay continuing to be over at the field. Lanes watched, and New York, they get the plant for free. Boston instantly challenged, and from there, it is a Subliner round.
That's just another beautiful setup out of New York. Like, they were slowly working up towards that A bomb, but they worked it so well that Clayster was able to push up to the opposing side of the base. So now he's not allowing Breach to wrap back and try to break it. They all have to try to attack this through middle and through the flank, and they had the perfect crossfire setup for that. HyDra finds one, Crimsix finds another, and then Clayster eventually closes out the round, man. Just great work from New York on such little practice.
Yeah.
They're making this look easy.
They absolutely are. Crim has been practicing those nade spots. That's without question. Meanwhile, Boston fights. The engagements are going down inside of P5. TJ is there. The plan is successful, and he'll have some words for Crimsix. A quick 3 for Tej in Boston. Just like that. Send us to overtime. It's time for round 11. The first one of the season.
Unbelievable. New York had 3 players pushed towards P5 right there, and TJ took all 3 of them down. That's something you usually don't see. Now we're going into a round 11. This is crucial because I feel like the team that gets offense here is going to be on the stronger side.
We'll see who it is. OT time. Boston going to be on the attack. A huge round for the breach. Oof. Trying to level this one out, but it's Crim with the early first blood. Cap there for the reach out. A 3 versus 3, but that bomb does in fact get dropped. Meanwhile, Cap trying to make the route. And look at this potential for HyDra. Gonna try to play his life. A minute on the clock. And here comes the engagements. Neptune ends up getting found out once more from Capsidal, but again, they have no idea that HyDra is in this position. Most likely here's a call up from a teammate notifying that they have wrapped around the back. And what can HyDra do in this position? What could totally explode the rest of this series?
Bomb still down. Clayster has eyes on it. He's able to at least spot TJ for the time being. HyDra still trying to hold their spawn, not allow anyone to push through. As you see number 5 on the minimap. Capsidal trying to work his way around that B site as HyDra might be able to spot a couple players rotating towards B. He might have got great timing here. This could work out in his favor.
This could be great. TJ's still alive.
Got a plant.
Making him have to plant. Clayster falls. HyDra there, aware of his position, and Boston clutching up in overtime. It felt like at any moment HyDra could make the play, but Boston are able to hold on and secure their first map in the CDL, and a well-deserved win considering how great that New York started. The highlights that were with them, Crim, Clay, they were continuing their dominance, but Boston, you gotta love the grit, man.
Those last 2 rounds were absolutely insane.
They were.
TJ getting a 3-piece in P5 to clutch up and force it to a round 11 was huge. But then when we get to the 5-5, Crims opens up with that first blood, and that was the bomb carrier. While Crims opened up with that first blood, even though he was traded, Clayster pushes all the way through that A bomb.
Yeah.
He's giving the comms to his teammates like, hey, they're either hitting through middle or they're pushing all the way through B. And unfortunately, HyDra, he put himself in a position where he really couldn't watch anything but plat. So now they were able to sneak through the back of the spawn and then eventually take control of that. And it kind of got scary towards the very end. Like,
oh yeah,
Breach, they almost had the opportunity to not even plant. But once they secured that kill on Clay, it's a 3v1. It was just great plays from Capsidal. I'm pretty sure he actually picked up the ace on that round. He wasn't having a hot map, but the guy in the final round of the game picks up 3 or 4 kills to close it out. Great work for the young man.
And that just makes you question too. Now, how does this rejuvenate a roster like the Boston Breach? Given that you have some younger players on this team, they wanted to have some confidence. We talked about a number of different players, right? Nero's push inside of Church, how that changed things. TJ's play inside of P5, and then Capsidal going big to close out the game. Again, a number of different highlights. I gotta say, man, I could not be more stoked. I could not be more stoked to have the sniper back. This is great. We're loving Vanguard so far, but the series, it's been a treat.
Just a great work from Boston, man. Especially TJ in that final round. Like the fact that he was able to play his life the way that he did. Crimsix was having himself a map, opening up with first bloods left and right. But it all just came down to that round 11. The fact that Clayster was able to push all the way through their spawn and not give any information to his teammates, but the fact that they were pushing all the way through because HyDra was laying down plat, that's what eventually cost him there. Like if HyDra sit in that corner, he at least spots 2 players trying to push through. Potentially gets at least 1 or 2, and then eventually Clayster goes in for the trade. But now this series is tied up at 1 apiece. We're going into a Gavutu control. And this is where it kind of gets scary for New York. Because I love Neptune with a submachine gun, but he's going to be their 3rd AR. And on the opposite side, for the Breach, TJ is also the 2nd AR, and then Nero is now going to be the 3rd. So this is going to be an absolute bloodbath between both of these rosters on this map 3.
Yeah, and we've seen them both during the offseason a little bit scrimmage on a map like Gavutu. So like you said, it definitely sets the pace a little bit, but we cannot understate how important that map was for the Breach just to get some confidence. Again, if you allow for Clay and Crim to walk away with that series, they were not, or rather with that map, they were not going to allow you to forget it for the rest of the series. But as we said, folks, it is the rivalry. New York versus Boston at a 1-1 scoreline. Who will take the lead? We'll find out on Gavutu Control after this.
Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Welcome back, folks, to the Call of Duty League Kickoff Classic presented by Zenni Gaming. There you see all of our lovely fans joining us in Arlington, Texas. By the way, if you're not here, you're missing out. Like I said, we got a great series going on right now. I just watched a guy do like 300 push-ups in like 30 seconds. It was spectacular. But no, if you're in the area, make sure to join us here at the Esports Stadium. If not, hey, you still got the chance to join us for Major 1. But let's go and check out a little bit of social media. There you see, we love round 11s, and then there, the big clutch from Boston Breach. You love to see it. And that is a way, my friend, to kick off your CDL season. That's the way to kick off your new franchise, is to walk away with a round 11 for your first map. You'll take it. Yeah.
Definitely, especially for a young player like Capsidal. The fact that he wasn't really having a hot map 2 from start to finish, that final round, he picks up 3 kills to close it out. You have to be feeling really good if you're him, because you feel really terrible if you sitting there dropping like a breadstick or something.
Especially
your very
with
first
the clay
match
clutch
on
as well, right?
Yeah, with your very first match on main stage, you cannot let that happen. I'm happy that he put that behind him. Now he has some more confidence going into this next map.
Yeah, of course, we're rooting on the rookies. We want to see them have a great series. And like I said, a huge win for Boston Breach, not just in regards to their first win in franchising, but given how this series was looking coming into that control, you could say it was quite necessary, as a matter of fact. But it is time to see a new map. We've yet to see this bad boy so far on the main stage. It's time for some control on Gavutu. You can pronounce it however you like, but we like to call it Gavutu for good reasons. Again, a number of different power positions, and essentially, Jay, the way that I would describe this, opposite of Bocage, right? You're not going to have 3 subs. In fact, you're going to have 3, if not 4 ARs sometimes. It's going to be a fun one. And we'll see, like we said, who can grab the advantage in this series.
Yeah, so this map is going to be really difficult. The way you want to play this map is always attack that A point first, because B is going to be so difficult to try to push up on unless you hit them nice and early and can get to their base. Usually a lot of teams are going to attack this A point to try to extend this time by a minute, and that's what you see NYSL is starting to do. You see Breach pushing through ring as Clayster is going to be holding down the middle of the map. Methodz is going to be sitting top green. He finds 1. HyDra with the trade, able to find 2. The first tick of progression is going to come in for this 8 point. Pay attention to number 6, though, on TJ. He will get taken down, so no pinch is going to come in. That's going to be almost the second tick progression coming in for NYSL so far.
And keep in mind as well, while this progress is being made toward bottom ship, you also do have HyDra, who's not just being annoying at B, but also cutting off your spawn as well. So a number of different things for Boston Breach to worry about. On top of that, you also have Crim, who happens to be sitting at top gun, one of the more difficult positions in the entire game of Call of Duty Vanguard. HyDra over at that power position. He finally gets cut down, and the farthest pushed up player being Crim, trying to be as annoying as possible. He's got the trigger finger finally dropped, but it was a good old 5 spree from C6.
And there goes Nero, able to at least even up the numbers, finds 2 in the feed. TJ finds the 3rd. So now Neptune, the only player pushed up in towards ship. Second tick of progression is going to be completed. Now all the players are going to be spawning out towards that back cliff side. Just want to make sure you pick up the kills when you can. 3 live advantage currently for NYSL. And this would be huge if they can potentially pick up some streaks going into that B point capture.
Yep, live count, nothing necessarily to write home about, but it could start to turn into that. Granted how New York can look to push this off of top ship. TJ looks to wipe them away. The big thing for New York is once they capture this point, they have the ability to push in toward your green building. If they can get there, that's when things start to get problematic. That's when a spawn trap can really begin to be established. So that's the reason why Boston are focusing so much on this ship position. If you allow for them to push through this building in particular, it can make things difficult throughout the remainder of this round. And speaking of it, we've got 1 minute and 15 left.
Yeah, and Nero the entire time, he's holding down ring. He's making some players from NYSL play super slow because that position is powerful. If they can take control of ring, they can potentially attack this from the front. As you see number 2 in the mini-map, Neptune still picking up kills from this ship side. Now all these players are going to be spawning out towards Red Tower, and that's going to be a clean 4 dead. This should allow NYSL to start getting pushed up on the map, eventually get someone on this point to eventually stop that clock.
HyDra, he's hanging out toward the weeds, does get found out there from Capsidal. A little bit of a slower start off of this first and early stages of the round, but again, Breach looking to recompose themselves right now in terms of lives, down 12-7 as TJ continues on the spree himself, nearly finds 4 in a row. Does get cut down, and so if you're Subliners, you've got 1 to 2 more good pushes at it. And they're going to bet quite heavily on HyDra. If he can make a play, that can set them up off spawn. The Boston Clay He's able to take down 2. Meanwhile, HyDra is in the back of the base.
Play spawn kills.
This could be the moment. Boston Breach pretty much playing search and destroy, considering that they've got no lives left. So there goes Cap. He's going to be away for the rest of the round. Methodz able to drop 1 for the moment, but 15 seconds left. It's going to come down to lives most likely. Players pressuring from behind. That's going to be HyDra, the flank. It's taken a while, but it's worked out quite nicely. Nero doing everything he can. It's a 1 versus 7. A hope and a prayer. Maybe he wouldn't even save him at this point. Clock stopping at 9 seconds, and there you have it. NYSL, a solid round to start.
Great work from New York. They were able to capture that A point, have at least a 3 to 4 kill lead, only focus on that B point, but you can see you continuously saw those players push up towards green. Once they won that 1 gunfight on the ring player, which was Nero, they had that position. You have players pushing up green. It's all about getting the kills at the right time. They were set up for basically playing the kills. They weren't even worried about the point there, and eventually they had the numbers advantage at the very end to close it out.
Yeah, I feel like we basically saw exactly how Gavutsu plays from the defensive perspective, right? If you allow for top boat to be given away that early, the power that you have to push through and toward top green can be very, very difficult. But off the rip, some trades either way. Methodz doing everything he can toward the top side of the tower, but he gets picked. Meanwhile, it's Cap hanging out toward the beach, having a few moments to sit inside of the point over at B. Right now, I want to step aside and see exactly how the comms sound for the moment. Let's go to a listen-in right now with Boston Breach.
I'm going to cliff. Nice. I'm going to cliff side. I'm going to cliff side.
Wait. That was
HyDra top boat. HyDra top boat. He's top right boat. He's showering out top right boat. He might go look cliff.
Take it up. I'm one shot here. I'm staying down for a second. Wait. Yeah, he's cliff. Cliff HyDra.
I'm just running past him. Try and go little beach.
On the fence spot deep.
There's 2 on the fence.
2 deep left, bro.
There's 3. There's 3 deep.
Try to get this kill. Go right now, guys. We gotta go right. Covering, wait.
Good tank.
On tank.
Yeah, cliff.
Go B. I don't see him top ring. The top cliff. Ring on me. Ring dead.
Behind the rock, lean down behind the rock.
Dead.
Nice.
We got a hot point.
Go.
He's their side. Their side boat.
And mid. Absolute 3 steps. Absolute 3 steps.
He's top right boat.
Almost the ring steps weak.
Nice as two. HyDra Clay.
He's gonna be.
Well, a few seconds left, and Breach just happened to hop on the point, but there goes Methodz. Nobody's going to be in range. It looks like a Nero slide in. No, he's not going to be able to do that. But throughout that listening, Jay, I was looking at your face. You didn't seem too happy, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't like the way that Breach approached their start off to that map. I mean, that round right there. It's like attacking B, allowing HyDra to get pushed up all the way at cliff. There's only 2 spawns on that side for the offense. You're either spawning from the close left towards the cliff or all the way back on the beach. The fact that HyDra continuously was pushed up on that left side, they just kept shutting them down when they were trying to approach ring. And then at that point, when they tried to rotate back, it's only 20 seconds left. Not that much time to work with. NYSL made that look easy.
Yeah, and we talked about it, like on Tuscan, as well, obviously, here on Gavutsu. Like, if you want to try to go for that B point, the more difficult one off the rip, you know, high risk, high reward, but it is very high risk with potentially little to no reward whatsoever. So, given all those things, Boston going for the interesting strats off the rip and not working out in that attacking side is New York once more in their own positions. And as we talked about the last attacking round for New York, HyDra being ever so annoying inside of green as Cap finally able to find himself on the flank. A few shaky shots and gets taken down.
Second tick of progression doesn't get completed as well. So now New York, they have to work double the trouble as Nero's going to be decapping this for the time being. But you see still, the plan for New York is to make sure we capture this A point. Up by 1 kill currently. See Neptune going to be able to work his way towards top boat. Able to find one, able to find the second for the third. But TJ's going to be able to take him down. And that's going to be a clean 4 dead. Now Methodz last player in green. The second tick progression should come in for NYSL so they can extend this time.
Yeah, and you notice Crim instantly calling out, said, hey, you know what, guys, I got ring. Meanwhile, you guys go ahead and fight for the bottom boat position. A player pushed up inside of green. Again, power positions held right now from the Subliners. Crim running right through the wall. Gets taken down. Meanwhile, it's HyDra on the other side. Again, continuing to push this spawn out. They feel good about that A capture point. One more player inside a bottom boat. That was Cap. And so look to try and stay alive for as long as he can. He gets dealt with. Oof. And still, New York hanging on off the back of Nero's 3-piece, and TJ finding the 4th. What nearly was a successful capture at A. Now is a back to the drawing board type of situation for the Subliners, and Jay, they've only got 30 seconds to do it.
Yeah, with 30 seconds, they do find 2 kills in the feed. This is going to allow them to get pushed up, but Methodz able to even out the numbers, slow down the push at this 8 point. Finds 2, HyDra with the trade. 20 seconds left. New York have the live advantage, but they have to get on this point. They have to try to extend this clock. HyDra, unfortunately, not able to pick up that kill on Methodz. He's going big from this top ship. Spots another player and Clayster down low. Capsidal finds another kill, so Clay's going to be the farthest player pushed up on this position. And with 5 seconds left, this has been a great hold from the Breach. They should be able to win this one.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks great, in fact, right now for Boston. Nobody in range, and the Breach will hold on after what was a interesting first attacking side, but again, it comes down to time, not able to grab really that final tick over toward bottom ship. Got close for Subliners, but some big plays coming through from Methodz and some clutch kills really from Nero specifically that allowed for them to see another round. But as we talked about for Boston last time, it was an all-out B hit, doesn't work out, and learning from their mistakes, Jay.
Yeah, they're definitely going to attack A this go around. So it's all about winning these initial gunfights. HyDra and Crim are going to be the players trying to contest it. HyDra's going to work his way up the ladder with the pistol, find that first blood on the TJ. HyDra having himself a map, 22 and 11.
Oh, come on.
23, 2 pistol kills, making the third onto Nero. He's just shutting down this 8 point single-handedly. If he would have picked up that kill, oh my God, he's a monster.
Oh, he is. You give him a pistol on the ladder, which you can kind of move up and down from time to time. Oh, goodness. HyDra wowing us already to start off this round. As again, Boston still holding regardless of that push that HyDra makes. Cap, lock it down. Really the time for the moment. Play and the boys from New York have to get ready to make the call. When is the time to try to engage? But it's really that mid presence, the automaton, looking out for the SMGs inside of the point. As Cap sits on 4 in a row and inches ever closer toward a successful capture here at A. It looks good potentially as Crim, the only player still up. He gets dealt with in a minute, gets added to the clock.
That's great work right there from Boston. Now you have 2 minutes to just work this B point by yourself. Now, you just have to find a position of Clayster because he's so far pushed up in their base. He can cause mayhem as Capsidal's going to be on a 5 spree. Clayster trying to pick up the 2 in the spawn. Able to do that. They still do not have ring control though. Huge one-on-one coming in towards lower beach. As Nero is not going to win that Crim. Huge engagement there. As they're going to take control of top ring, or at least attempt to, but still a lot of pressure coming in from Boston.
Here comes the strafe. Here comes the strafe from Cap. Or at least it says that he's activated it. And there it is. A little off cue, but all good. Calls it in, really no damage for the most part done. At least it makes New York have to distance themselves off the point and allows for Boston to really try to go for the stack already. They've got 2 players in the point. Meanwhile, it's Cap trying to hold off some of the early spawns, the turn and burn, as that's 3 who fall from New York. Clay doing everything he can to try to stop this progression, getting some ring control, but the shots instantly met from Nero. Moments away are Boston from sending us to a round 5. Can New York do anything off of spawn? Neptune at least does a little bit of damage. He does the job that he has to, as now it sets up Clay for a big 1v1. He locks it down, and Boston, all of that progress starts to fall moment by moment. NYSL, you see it. No respawns left. A 4v13. A minute left. It would be a miracle if New York can hold on to this, but Cap, the quick challenge, he gets taken down. And if you're Boston, you got to be careful. You don't want to throw away these lives.
You want to take your time. You want to find these kills, at least get trades on it. As TJ was able to find 1, Methodz with the trade. Now it's a 2v10. Just take your time, find these kills. This should not happen. Neptune finds 2 in the feed. Nero's going to work his way around the long flank. TJ with a great nade on the HyDra. So now it's all on Neptune. Pretty much an impossible task to get done in Boston. They have brought this map all the way back. We're going to a round 5.
We are indeed. These maps, not easy for the Breach. NYSL making them work for it, but we saw round 11 in that search and destroy, and now a round 5 here in the control. It's based off of kills to see who gets that defensive side here in control, at least to start off the Vanguard year, so we'll see who exactly that will be.
And it's going to be New York. New York are going to be on the defensive side. This time they cannot allow to give that 8 points so much, so easy the way that they did first go around. If I'm Clayster, you see him slowly pushing up towards that right side. Crim and HyDra able to find 2. Is they going to go on the immediate flank here? This can throw a couple players from Boston Breach off.
It looks like it just might, right? They put 2 players toward the close cliff watch, if you will. Meanwhile, Crim trying to go big inside of the point. Clay from one side, but it's the fights that are being won inside of the bottom ship. Some big wins there from TJ and Cap, so not a ton of support off of spawn. Why? Because Clay's pretty much gunning everybody in sight. Methodz finally there with the nade, as that will allow for that path to be much easier inside of the boat. And with 4 players pretty much surrounding it, you like Breach's chances to have it. And it looks like we do have a small technical difficulty, so apologies for that. Just makes it that much more intense. Like I said, don't believe the current score. It'd be great if Boston Breach was able to walk away with it, but I'm being told it is an audio issue, which is pretty important, Jay.
It definitely is.
You got to hear what's going on.
You definitely need to. And if I'm Clayster, I'd hit the reset on that round 5.
I would too.
You have to put your main focus on winning those first gunfights at that A point.
Yeah.
I know they sent 2 players towards Ring, but the fact that both of those players at A won their gunfights and then eventually were traded, it allowed Breach to still get on that point uncontested. Clayster was in the back of the spawn trying to set up the cross to allow his teammates to at least know, I have the cross, they're going to be weak as they're crossing, these should be easy kills for you guys. But what Breach were doing so well was just winning a majority of those gunfights, basically making Clayster useless on the opposite side of the map. Yeah,
it's a situation where it's a high risk, high reward type of play. We've talked about that a lot so far throughout this series, so far throughout the day, and it's a position rather that does not work out favorably from NYSL. Again, still waiting to see what exactly will happen in this round number 5, as it will be a 2-2 scoreline. And maybe some players talking to each other across the stage, letting them know, hey, you know what, that was kind of a garbage setup a little bit, Clay. You could have done a little bit better in that final round. I don't know. You love to see the players talking to each other, but let's go and check out exactly what how socials are reacting to this. We see this one from Brian. Subliners are looking really dangerous with both the Crimbot and Fall Off the Map God going nuts. Yeah, Clay, he's prone to falling off the map from time to time.
Yeah, so far he hasn't done it throughout this game, but it's bound to happen.
Is it possible on Gabu too?
Yeah, I watched TJ do it in the very first round of Control. He jumped off top 3 and broke his ankles.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't jump off the map, though.
Yeah, he did.
He jumped in the map.
Just high ground.
His legs. Yeah,
it's okay.
I'm sure that Clay will figure out a way at some point to do it. Has he already done it in scrims? Like, has that been like a clip that I haven't seen?
I haven't seen it, but I know it's bound to happen.
It definitely is. Hopefully not in this round 5, because that would just not be ideal whatsoever. Again, if you're a Boston fan, which it sounds like we have a lot in the crowd right now, you would be rooting that on. But again, still waiting for an official update to see what exactly, how we're going to approach this round number 5. Again, as we discussed, we kind of knew the sides. I don't believe anybody had some streaks.
No.
I know Cap had earned some, but I'm pretty sure he did use that in that round number 4 to help things get secured. But again, we're just here to banter. We're here to talk back and forth and just give the information that we have, which is currently nothing, but that's all right. It hypes up this round 5 that much more.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm just excited to get right back into the game. At least we got a map 4 to look forward to.
It's true.
And that's going to be great.
I really hope we see a map 5 only because of the sniper. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I just want to see the sniper again.
On Berlin, too?
Oh, yeah.
That'll be good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Clayster, he's going to be shooting.
I'm ready to toss out some more bing bong. Who's a sniper for Boston? Do we know?
Cap.
That's right. Cap had it out a few times. That's right. So, oh, boy. Like we said, only sets the stage that much more, maybe makes the intensity a little bit. You wonder who's going to have their head in the game, if you will, when it comes down to this round number 5 that is still being set up. Like we said, folks, we do apologize for a little bit of a delay, but you see the coaches trying to keep everybody engaged, trying to keep their mind in the game, which it can be easy, being in a series like this where everything slows down to kind of zone out a little bit, to not really be focused in on what we just witnessed. But speaking of what we just watched, Jay, some highlights of what we got to see so far throughout our first 4 rounds of
these first 2 rounds from New York were just beautiful.
Yeah.
The fact that Crim whips out the pistol right there makes it look easy. HyDra's just been running around the spawn of the Breach players the entire time. Offense, defense does not matter. But at least early into this game, New York looked like they were going to walk away with it with ease.
Yeah.
But now that Boston are right back into this game. They made the adjustment on their offensive round to not attack B. They know they need to get A, and they have such a great coaching staff that Zed, he's an objective-mind player. I love the fact that he's their coach because he's always going to think about the win rather than everybody just playing for stats. So the fact that they were able to get themselves back into this game, it shows that they were composed. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They just needed to execute.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, it is great, obviously, to have Boston Breach in the CDL, but you cannot give them more props, right? Yeah. From the coaching staff, the GM that they put in place, both Zed and Dens, obviously have a lot of history with each other, from Reciprocity, also part of that Paris Legion team back in MW, but I could not agree more, my friend. I have to say, I've actually texted Dens or like emailed him a few different times. One of the most eloquent speakers that I've ever actually seen.
He's beautiful.
It's actually unbelievable. His vocabulary, it's probably best in the league, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely better than mine.
It's
Guy's also
definitely better than mine.
handsome. He's really handsome. He could be a model.
He definitely
promise.
Could. Yeah, it's definitely in his future, but I think this Boston Breach thing is working out 100%. Quite well.
It's working out well so far.
It is.
You know, we tied 2-2 going into the control. Round 5. Both of these teams got to know what they need to do to get it done. Like, if I'm New York, I'm sending 3 players at that A point. I'm not allowing us to lose the initial gunfight.
I think they learned.
Yeah, they have to, right? There's no way they can make
You'd like to think that you'd learn. You know, you do get that little bit of a reset, which nobody wants to have happen. But you got to learn from your mistakes. And if you're New York, hey, you'll take every advantage that you can get, especially in a rivalry game like this, which I'm being told the game is just moments away. So let's get excited. Let's get hype. Round 5, overtime. Arlington, you can do better than that. Arlington, you can do better than that. Let's get excited. It is round 5. I'm nearly falling off the stage right now. We're in a high place. You gotta hold me, Jay.
It's okay, pal, but here we go. All-out attack from Boston coming in at that A point. Once again, Neptune and Clayster are going to be working their way through the middle of the map. HyDra's able to find 1, finds 2, as Clayster finds the 3rd. And this can get scary because we saw the positioning from HyDra, how it worked out their very first defense. That's going to be 5 straight kills, make it 6. They have the positioning. They have them in a spawn trap. This is going to be difficult for Breach to try to break out.
Well, Jad said this is a better start.
Way better start.
Yeah, it's just at least a little bit, as HyDra finally gets taken down. First kill coming, what, at the 30-second mark there for Boston. Few picks, and there we have it, 3 down. But again, the one player who continues to put himself in towards that cliff position, trying to watch the cut, is going to be Clayster, still alive, but Capsidal to take him down. Nero watching the flank, and Breach, after what was a very, very slow start to this round, finally get the opportunity to take a look at that objective. But the point currently going to be vacant. Fights is being established for that top boat control, as Cap currently sits on 4 in a row.
And time's starting to dwindle. It's only 30 seconds left into this round. They were able to take down Clayster off, though. That's going to be 3 dead, but Crim still causing problems at this B point. This is going to allow for Breach to get on that A point. Allows for his teammates to eventually get pushed up, but HyDra, he's going to be able to take him down, and time is starting to dwindle. They do get on that B point. It's only a matter of time before NYSL should be able to take him off. They have full A control right now. You see on the minimap, HyDra is going to be pushed up towards ship.
What?
Right now, Breach are just committed. They're committed to this B point.
Thought the tank would surely be stronger than that. It was a great play, right, from Cap to hold on for as long as he did. Obviously, the game's in time at B, but to at least stop the clock. But Nero there for the trade, trying to get to a position as he ends up getting dropped. Meanwhile, the fight continues to progress over at that A point. Methodz tempted to maybe try to make a route, trying to make the flank. Time going to be stopped at 9 seconds and some change. Neptune jumps on in, the pistol is out, and it's firing quite well. Does get traded. HyDra, the last line of defense toward the bottom side of the boat, is able to turn on to Nero. Time continues to tick away, and Boston, they've got to do something. They have to hop onto the point. One player's going to be here, and it's Capsidal stopping the time for a second. He gets off the time, and NYSL will clutch up in the round 5. They get the chance for the restart, and boy, did they take advantage of it. A wonderful start and a great finish. Oh boy.
The trap that they set them in right off the rip of that was beautiful. Clayster made the adjustment though. He doesn't full flank around ring. Him and Neptune both cut down the inner ring steps, and they were able to find not 1, not 2, but all 4 kills. Now this allows your teammates who push through that A point to push up towards Cliff. It allows Clayster to push up towards the right side because they're all going to be spawning back P4. Just easy. They started up 7 kills without anyone dropping right off the rip. And with only 30 seconds left, it was just really difficult for Breach to try to get anything going on that A point. It was just going back and forth the entire time. But eventually NYSL, they closed it out in a dominant fashion.
And it felt like, too, like, you know, given the way that round started, Boston Breach were, I guess, to kind of describe it specifically, they look like they're chickens with their head cut off.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really seem to know exactly what they wanted to push. Cap was holding over at B, and it was like, do they want to try to establish control over at Beach, or do we want to try to retake control at A? It just seemed like there were too many fights going on without a really solid plan coming into that round 5. But again, a lot of that has to be described based off the way that NYSL began that round. As you said, Jay, I mean, what? They started off like 7-0 in terms of life count. It took about 30 seconds for Boston just to find a kill. Good round to close it out there for New York, as now they will take the lead in this series. 2-1. We'll take a look back at Gavutsu, but set the stage for me, my friend. What do we see on Gavutsu here? And I don't know. What do we expect from this Boston team coming into another respawn?
It was a lot of back and forth between both of these teams, at least early into the game. NYSL took the first 2 rounds. Boston, they responded to the very next 2. And then obviously after the reset, I just feel like New York knew that they messed up off the initial push before the reset happened. They cannot allow that to happen again. Once they won a majority of those gunfights, they put Breach in a situation where, do we decide to wrap back and fight these guys at ship, or we can just push through and try to go right up the middle, or at least the left side to go B? So they won a majority of those gunfights at ring, but then to try to complete that B point without having A, you're just allowing people to set up on the flank towards ring. You're allowing people to set up on crossfires, nades to come in. And eventually NYSL, they just did a great job of just slowing down the game, picking up the kills when they needed to, and eventually winning a majority of those trades. Yeah,
absolutely. You called it out quite well, my friend. But another look here at this round number 5. Just again, Breach doing everything they can to try to keep that point up, to try to keep it alive.
Nasty.
I gotta say, man, HyDra had a phenomenal map, just in terms of what Breach had to deal with specifically. When it came down to boat, when it came into top green, he was always in their spawn, always causing issues. But here we go, taking a look at the Bocage hardpoint numbers there versus Breach, and it was Crim leading the way on Bocage. Who would have thought? Crimsix, the SMG that was in question, leading the way. What, he dropped like 36 kills?
Yeah, he dropped like 36,
something.
Double digits in the search and destroy. They clutch up in the control right there. Now they're going into another hard point. And this is a hard point that I feel is going to favor them a lot, because you have veterans on this team. They know which one are the money hills. That P3 on Berlin, you have to make sure you're getting control of that street. Once you shut down the street control, it's all about holding fire. There's no way they flood through the front. They're going to attack it through fire. They're going to attack it through front. As long as you shut down their initial push, New York, at least the way that they played the very first map, they know exactly how they want to set up in hardpoint.
Yeah, at least if you are Breach, the one positive coming into this next hardpoint is that, hey, at least it's not similar to Bocage. It's going to be a lot different, right? You have a lot more longer rotations. You can definitely see that auto get involved much, much more from players like Methodz and players like TJ. But talk to me, man. What's your confidence level, right? Like I said, we've seen some very, very close maps in the search and destroy and the control. We go to round 11 in map 2. We go to round 5 in game 3. Well, you know, we could talk about the Bocage hardpoint, but we'll go and toss that one to the side. Like I said, a different map, but what's your confidence level right now with this Breach team? Do you think they have the ability to send it the distance?
100%. If I'm them, I'm 100% confident, because both of those last 2 maps, they went down to the very last round. A couple key mistakes, if you just fix those little things, it potentially would be your map. These guys are playing some of the best Call of Duty players of all time, really tight. The fact that they're only down 2-1 in this series, keeping it as tight as they have, they can go into this hard point and just say, hey, we need to make sure we're doing the things right. We cannot allow to go 4 dead at the same time. We need to make sure we're prioritizing the spawns on this map, because it's huge.
You set the stage quite well, my friend. As we mentioned, the greatest sports rivalry ever meets esports. Is this where we call it for their first encounter of the CDL? Or can Boston clutch up, continue to fight to send us to a map 5? Here we go, in toward map 4. Breach, potentially their final map here at kickoff. We'll see what they can do. As New York off the rip with the preferred side in terms of spawns, they have the ability to get here first, and in fact Gold just happens to sit on their side of the map. So given that, we'll see what they can do with the control. A few early kills going either which way, but majority of points, of course, going the way of Subliners, 18 unanswered.
good work from New York, but this is, look at the minimap, you see number 8, which is going to be Nero, trying to set up the pinch for Plat, able to find one, tries to take down the second. Huge one-on-one between Neptune and TJ to secure the rest of that time. That's going to be basically all this P1 hardpoint going in favor of New York. You have to start thinking about that rotation. You see number 1 cutting off through middle broken. That's going to be Clayster. And then also HyDra, he actually attacks broken too. I would have liked to see him go up street. You want to make sure you secure that side of the map. But he's able to find one, not able to find a second, and that should be Breach off the rotation.
Yeah, one thing too, Teach decides to go and challenge Old to try to put some pressure on the players that were locking down the final few seconds of scrap. You gotta imagine they weren't expecting that particular strategy, but as you called it, early Hill held down well from the Subliners, and now it's about the rotation game. A big Hill already off the rip here in Library, and Clay finding a lane, running through walls, and, well, has a few players in his line of sight potentially. He's got some players off of spawn. They're going to do their best to try and support him. But trying to lock things down. One player toward the top, that's going to be Capsidal. Breach, they look to force the issue, coming in from mid, coming in from that train station side. The pistol was out, and really Breach, despite having this rotation, it has at least been a majority contested time, or rather going the way of New York. Not the way that you want necessarily if you're Breach, but with only a 10-point game, these final few seconds are big, but you got to be aware of that next one over and fire. A good delay there from New York. A lot of contested seconds as now we've got a Money Hill set up for fire.
Now it's all on New York to hold down this initial push on street. They shut that down. They're keeping control. That's going to be a clean 4 dead. Now all these players from Breach are going to be spawning out towards Plat. This should allow HyDra to start getting a little bit more aggressive towards the middle of the map. You see he's going to be playing it towards Statue. He finds one. He will get traded. But Boston, they have to attack this through fire. You have to try to pinch this from the front and fire if you want to break it. But multiple players are attacking the street. They have flipped the spawns now. New York are going to be spawning out towards the front. That's great work from Boston to not give up all this time.
Yeah, that is a great flank, specifically there from Nero. Is able to make his way up the street, finds one on the flank, and again, an unpredictable type of situation, and he's able to make it work. A huge hill in which Boston are able to break on in, and with these final 15 seconds, we very well could have a tie game. But let's go and step aside and listen in with the comms. Let's go do a listen-in now with Boston Breach.
aLLeY done.
One shot P5, he's just in behind the fucking
P5 dead, P5 dead.
Lane
They
top.
don't P5. Cutting.
Okay.
Oh, he's top P5 nice. Dead, he's dead.
Go back right, back right.
Nice, stay down. I'm going P5. Yo, you can pinch P5. I don't see top tower. Stay dead. Get time. I get timer. Actually, I'm gonna go top tower. Stay down. One back left, guys. One P5 here. Top house. P5. One top P5. I got needed. One on P2.
Oh.
I'm trying to hit left.
I'm watching my 50%.
One shot. Go front out. One shot. There's 2. Front out.
Back.
Front out. Great. Left side.
In my back. Going with time.
Go P5. Go P5.
Good.
I'm gonna go There's one in front of me. I'm P5 right now. Yo, P, take it low. I don't see him. Yo, no, wait, top fire right now. Fire tank, HyDra.
Grim back alley. Nice.
Stand left. Give me low P2 on me. Low.
Low
P2, HyDra.
I'm gonna go left. I'm trying to go left.
I'm gonna see him.
Work it left.
I see him. I don't see him back alley.
Close.
Watch that time.
Nice, shit. I'm going P1. I'm going P1.
Nice. At least P2.
I'm in P1.
Only 30 seconds more in our first set of rotations, and I gotta say, Jay, I like the comms there with Breach specifically. I felt like Capsidal, who was not just going on streaks, but making plays, obviously having a big performance there over at that train hill. This guy is looking to finally really pick it up. He's had a few slower maps, but I guess he's finally caught his bearings. Now 16-9 and forcing the issue on the flank. He's inside of their face, as that's gonna be 5 in a row. How about 6? It's 6 for Capsidal. He is woken up and erupting right now on the Subliners. Making 8 in a row. Boston feeding off the hype that this man can provide. 21-10. Big Cap. Welcome to the series, my friend.
Woo! Woo! He's going to be fully streaked out, man. And Boston, ever since they went into that listening, they were able to break that P4, have a good, at least scrappy hill for P5, but they are just taking control of this game. Big Cap is going huge, not only in the comms, but in the gun skill as well, man. 128 to 100 right now is going to be NYSL still holding down this P1. 25 seconds remaining here. If I'm number 7 on the min-map, which is going to be Methodz, I'm starting to think about that rotation. I want to work that way towards this deep street. It's going to be a huge one-on-one between him and HyDra.
So he was able to secure it. Methodz may not know that somebody's already pushed up to the backside of the docks. In fact, Clay, he's going to make his job that much more easy. Cap at least gets some visuals before getting picked off, and that will allow for Nero to go there for the 1-for-1 trade. It is New York, somewhat late, but also getting to the hill earlier than the breach can. 24 and 12 right now from Capsidal. You can just feel that this guy is really starting to pick things up, helping break open the setup there at Library as he'll find 2. It's an overall 3-for-1 trade favoring Boston. They did a good job at P1. And this could be their opportunity to really start to extend this advantage. 30 valuable seconds left here at Library.
And you see the big-headed play coming in from Breach. That was Methodz. He pushes his way into fire. He was able to flip those spawns. So if you're New York, you have to get this remaining time, but you also have to flip it once again. You see that number 4 player in Crimsix spawning all the way out towards Warehouse. If I'm Boston, I'm just sitting back. I want to make sure I'm setting up the cross, but I want to play it safe because this hill can be a full 60 if you can hold it down correctly.
A huge hill in store. Kind of Breach. Look to play this again. You've got one player established toward the dockside. That's going to be Methodz. As long as he sits here, you can imagine his team is going to hold on to control. Few early shots in the HyDra. But again, a power position right now from Zenni. The longer he stays here, the more difficult it is. As we said, Neptune finally there to shut him down. But again, for New York, it is a multitude of different players you're going to have to take out of positions just to even get toward this hard point. But Clay, he's found a lane inside of Black. Nobody's looking over toward this position, but he's made his way in, and that's going to be 2 for him. Boston's still spawning close, but Clay, a great little turn there, but at least sets his teammates up as New York, they're rushing on into the hill.
And this is great work from New York. They knew that they cannot allow Breach to get all this time on P3. Capsidal still has those streaks to work with, so this should be an easy break as Crim finds 2 in the back on a 4 spree of his own. Huge one-on-one versus TJ, gonna come in, he's able to win it as well. 1 kill away from picking up that strafing run. You see off the rotation, look at it. NYSL gonna be set up early, but you have to keep in mind, Capsidal does have those streaks. So if you're New York, you have to play this a little safer.
We'll see how they do look to play it. As you mentioned, how often do we see teams go from P3 to P4? Not super common, but it can be one of the more deadly streaks
Spawns
in the game. Capsidal bringing down the glide bomb. Not going to do too much damage. 80 as a matter of fact. But again, with that flipping of spawns, it allows for New York to be in a much better spot. They know exactly where they're coming from. Right through the train station is where Boston try to funnel themselves through, but Clay primed and ready for it, as that's going to be 4 in a row now for him.
Unfortunately, he gets naded there, so not any streaks to work with, but New York do take the lead. Just great work from them. Even though Capsidal did have streaks to work with, sitting at 31 and 19, the young man is having himself a map. He's trying to force this game 5 at any cost. But Clayster with a huge 2-piece off the rotation. New York are going to be spawning at the warehouse side. You see number 3, he's trying to focus on where Methodz can possibly be. Methodz is trying to cause problems, but HyDra still playing it slow and fire. This game is so close right now.
It absolutely is. One thing, too, you have to consider is not just who's at P5, but who has rotations as well for the next P1. Both teams looking to try to secure that for their team. It was Boston for a moment. New York, based off some positioning and really a fury of kills, are able to flip the spawns in their favor. So again, great time at P1, but also thinking about the future is NYSL also. A few players trying to make their way up through the alley, but Crim aware of that common angle. Didn't look like he had a chance in the world of taking that fight versus Methodz. That's going to be 2 in a row for him. Again, aware of the push that Boston not just need to make, but have to make at this stage of the game. One player sneaks through, that's going to be Nero. That's 2 for him, make it 3 in a row for the Young Guns.
And that's going to be a rotation going in favor of Breach. Even though spawns are still coming in from New York, it's really difficult if you're fully set up when every single player is spawning out back plat. You see a pinch trying to come in from number 5, which is going to be Capsidal. TJ and Methodz finding every single kill they can in the feed. 219 to 205. Breach, unfortunately, Clayster, he's still going to be able to pick up the kill there. But Breach, they're right back into this game. 40 seconds left. They can potentially close it out here.
It's getting dicey. It's getting dicey, folks. You can feel the intensity. You can feel the fights.
It's 4 dead.
That's going to be 4 down, New York, with some free time. As you said, Jay, they've got the ability to win this one here. Breach, they've got to contest for a few seconds. HyDra may have let one slip through for the time. It will be found out for the moment, but Nero's still hanging on. They can still win it. They have to contest for at least 1 second. They've got to contest. Nero being aware of it, trying to stay alive inside the train station, as that'll be 3. Hill contested, but now it's about the rotation, and look who's here. It will be the Breach.
Nero and Cap. They're able to find every single kill in the feed. Down 30 points, a streak comes in from Crimsix. Able to find one. They are going to be spawning out towards backfire. But Boston are not worried about the spawns right now because they can close it out here. There's a huge one-on-one between Clay and Methodz. To take control of the street side, Methodz is going to win it. Neptune and Crim able to find 2 in the feed. Cap trying to do everything he can to hold it down. Cap and Nero, the rookies, stepping up here. It's going to be 1 player left in the position. It's going to be Neptune. He's going to drop. Tie game. They can win it here.
Only a few more seconds. New York, they've got to try to contest. Clay winning a big fight. That's going to be 1. Can't find the second. Methodz wins it. Do we have a game 5? And you bet we will. Boston will not go away. You have got to love this rivalry.
There's no way to start. There's no better way to start it. This is their very first series, and the season hasn't even started yet. This is a kickoff. We're going to a game 5. 2 of the best franchises in the world are going at it in our very first game 5 of the kickoff. Big shout out to Capsidal because the guy went off right there to make it happen for his team. Going on that 8 spree, picking up those early kill streaks was huge. But then in those very final seconds, him and Nero trading back and forth in library to close out the game. Methodz holding down that 1 street lane. As I told you, as long as he won that 1 gunfight versus Clayster on street, that was what was going to tell it. But just great work by Breach to force it to a game 5.
37 and 27, 28 non-traded kills. As we said, goes on the 8 spree, and of course, gets some good hill time as well. I mean, what a map from Big Cap. You love to see it. As we said, he joins us in the series. He had a little bit of a slower start, but that is one heck of a way to send us to a map 5. Incredible performance. Like we said, man, what a series this one has already been. We talk about map 1, okay, somewhat of a snooze fest, but 2, 3, and 4 have been incredible. As we take a look at some of the highlights, Jay, talk me through some of the major points that you noticed here.
Saw Capsidal. This is why I'm pretty sure he went on the 8 spree. He just made it look easy. Like, this is off the rotation as well. Like, keep in mind, Broken was just finished. He picks up that 8 spree, and then eventually New York are able to slowly get back into this game. This was a huge play of the game right here when New York contested this P3 hardpoint because they knew if they gave up that 30 seconds, Breach are going to break that 200-point mark. It's only a matter of time before they get close enough to close that game out. But New York, they started fighting back. 240 to 220 was the score, but just a perfect rotation coming in out of Nero and Methodz, winning their huge one-on-one engagements off the rotation to eventually allow his teammates to set up properly around that hill, play the trades, eventually close out the map. Just well done by such a young team.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Especially to dig that deep. The way that this series has gone, it's been all about clutching. It has been all about these little plays toward the stretch. So far, it's favored Boston a majority of the time, but it is a 2-2 game. Our first game 5 of the CDL 2022 season. It is going to be a fun one. And thankfully for us, we get to stay in the exact same environment that we were just in. We're staying for Berlin, baby.
I'm excited.
This is going to be great.
I can't wait.
This is awesome.
We got snipers. We got smokes on lacrosse. We got young players stepping up to a whole new level.
Storylines.
Like, oh, this is great, man.
This is awesome. This is a pleasure to be a part of. We hope that you guys are obviously enjoying it as well. But as we continue to discuss it, it's time to take a little bit of a break. And we'll rejoin you in just a moment. As we said, Boston versus New York. It's nearly time for map 5. Make sure to stay with us. Who's advancing and who is headed home? It is Berlin Search and Destroy when we come back.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Zenni Gaming. Armor your eyes with Block's gaming glasses starting at $24 by visiting zenni.com/CDL.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Call of Duty League kickoff. Oh boy, what a series it has been up to this point. New York versus Boston, the rivalry we've all been waiting for, sending us to our first Game 5 of the year. And the reason why we're here in the first place, Jay, is because of that man right there.
The young
Big Cap.
rookie. Big Cap stepping up to the plate to not allow his team to go home early. This is huge, man. Like, win or lose, this is such a confident booster for such a young team because they're going up against some of the best.
Yeah.
And the fact that this series is this close, man, it's unbelievable, man. I cannot wait to see how this Game 5 turns out.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. As we said, this has been a very neck-and-neck series post the very first Game 1, which was basically a Crim and Clay show for the most part. But since then, like I said, we've seen a round 11, a round 5 in the control, and then what, like an 8-point game in that last hard point. Incredible stuff. But there you see it. Big Cap. The difference that this guy can make is incredible. You see the streak that he goes on, especially at that point in the game where everything was pretty much being decided, right? Yeah. That was a big stage where Boston was starting to kind of claim the advantage in that last one. It's incredible. And we talked about that guy as well. Known for search and destroy. It was around 11 last time we saw these two teams take battle on Tuscan. Now we're back on Berlin. Whew.
This one's going to be scary, man.
This is going to be fun.
Because
it's going to be scary, fun, it's going to be everything.
You got to keep in mind that NYSL are without practice for 3 straight weeks. And this is where that chemistry can really come about for this young Boston roster. So let's get into it. You hear the crowd. They are so excited for this round 5, just like me and Lando. So here we go. First Game 5 of the entire year. We called it too. We did. I knew we were going to get one.
Yeah, we did call it. We'll give ourselves some props at the end of the series. But here we go. In toward the round 1, it will be the New York side on the attack here at Berlin. More often than not, you'll see that B bomb site attacked. A few A hits every once in a while, but it comes out of Game 5, so you can pretty much toss some of those strats out the window, as it is a slow one to start off our first.
And you see the positioning already from TJHaly. He's pushed up all the way through docks. He has the rotation if they try to bring this back towards B, but some shots right there is going to give it up. Now you have to wrap back, play your life. But so far, this has been a slow and steady round. Crimsix with another first blood. Able to make it a 4v3, an advantage of NYSL. But look at number 8. Here comes Nero on the flank, able to take down one before he is traded. Now it's going to be a 3v2.
Oh, and a big win there from HyDra as well. Going to leave Methodz now all up by himself. A 1 versus 3 for the face of the franchise. Tries to turn, but not able to secure it. New York play it slow off the rip. As you call it, Jay, Crimsix finds the first blood. He had 6 on that Tuscan, by the way.
Unbelievable.
6 first bloods. I think a majority of them were with the nade, but hey, he continues to be a menace, a problem at the start of rounds. And I think there was actually a stat last year that talked about Crim whenever he would take first bloods in Cold War. It didn't happen all that often, but whenever he did, he was winning them like 80% of the time. It was something like crazy, some stat about that. But
yeah, the guy's pretty good at call.
Yeah, you know,
he's pretty good.
It's a fair call. Yeah.
But here we
Only
go.
the go.
Now into the offense for the breach. Methodz is going to be that player that's calling out cross. He spots at least one player, but Cap's going to go for the snipe through mid broken. Not able to connect on anything. TJ opens up with that first blood. Cap's just trying to overextend and try to pick up this kill, but Nero, he's actually going to fly out and give up his life for free. Crim's going to find his second, and just what went from a breach man advantage is now going to be New York in a 3v2.
Yeah. Cap in back-to-back rounds, giving up his life and really allowing for New York to take advantage of that man count. 2 versus 3, and it's going to be up to the vets of the breach to try and secure this. It's out of fire, doesn't realize that Crim happens to be at the very back side of the map. And now it's going to be all on the Teach. Those 2 players are in fire, put shots on the 1, and takes out Clay in the process. 35 seconds, and still a lot of work to be done. Still achievable, and with Crim being in that position, it makes you think, is it going to be a wrap to A? And it looks like it will be.
And this is what TJ does best. He's able to pick up this bomb. He should be uncontested at this A plant. You see Neptune, he's going to be sent towards backfire. They're not worried about giving up this bomb site. But now in the 2v1, this allows it to be a winnable round for TJ. He spots Neptune, puts down some shots. Neptune able to get away with his life. So now it's all about linking up with your teammate and playing this trade.
And how big that kill would have been for TJ as well. Somebody top fire. They can actually see that angle from where they happen to be. He checked that far right window, and Neptune is going to be able to sniff him out. A big round from New York, what looked like some potential for a 1 versus 3, and really it goes back to that initial engagement where TJ plants the bomb. If he takes down Neptune, a totally different round. Solid plays there from Travis McLeod to stay alive and allow for them to utilize those numbers.
I think early into that round, it was all on Nero dropping the bomb basically in the center of the map. Like, he tried to go play for that trade, but once he got taken down, it immediately turned into a 2-piece, and that cannot happen, especially as the bomb carrier. You make it a little bit more difficult to try to win your offenses when you're dropping the bomb dead center of the map.
Well, New York 2-0 to start. Is it time for a bing bong? Oh, just off the mark. Love to see those smoke crosses back in Call of Duty again. But just a miss there for Clay. Meanwhile, TJ able to shut down HyDra. That bomb sitting heavy right now inside a library. And with HyDra dropping in the fashion that he does, Subliners look to reference back, join alongside each other, and try to find a pick. HyDra was their guy. By him falling, you know the Boston Breach, given the way that they've been dropped in open areas, they don't want to allow that to happen again.
Yeah, if you're New York, you're just trying to find a pick. You're trying to even up the numbers, make it a 3v3. But Breach are not giving up anything easy. You see the positioning out of TJ, just playing super safe at B. Clayster, he does have that sniper in his hand, so he's going to try to work for TJ, but time is starting to dwindle. 29 seconds left. They have to eventually work this bomb. It's looking like they're going to commit towards A. The player's actually working his way through middle. Neptune finds the kill, makes it a 3v3, finds the second as well. Just like that, we went from a 4v3 with about a minute left. It's now going to be a 3v1, all left up to Methodz. And the bomb has not been planted yet. The bomb has not been planted.
Methodz knows it. Methodz aware of it. Clay, oh, the chance. I thought for a moment, I was like, wait, the bomb's not down yet? No, not at all. Methodz was primarily aware of that. Not able to take down Clay. But a what-if type of situation there for Methodz. Things go slightly differently. Maybe if you have a player in that situation who's able to stay alive, Cap, who is obviously hanging out inside of gold. Somebody to help out Methodz in that situation. But a little too scary there for New York, but they're able to stay alive. And that's 3 rounds uncontested. This is a must-win for Breach. And I hate to say it, but Cap, 0-3.
Yeah, so far, from what I've gathered from Breach side, is that they're always trying to play for the trade. Some kills, you don't have to do it. Like when Neptune pops that kill in A, no, you don't have to go in there and try to get that kill because Neptune was able to find 2, and that's going to be an early 2 kills for New York. Now it's going to be a 4v2. Bomb is going to be down at this B. Bomb. It's all left up to TJ and Methodz. This is going to be a difficult task to get done as Crimsix finds the 3rd, all left up to 1.
And this is just picture-perfect COD so far right now from New York. Granted, you've had a few close situations, but I feel like a majority of the time it's been a 1v3, 1v4, players getting picked apart, players getting dropped off the rip. I mean, what, to start off that early phase there for Capsidal, he's not even expecting 2 players to flank him from that dock side. Methodz able to take down 1, but again, it's just the trades from New York, the amount of players that they have alive. 4-0 to start. And Breach, you've got to wake up.
They're just letting a couple rounds get away from them. Like the last 2 previous rounds before that one, because that was a super clean round out of New York, they have the man advantage, and then they're over-challenging and then losing that man advantage. You need to make sure that you're continuously playing as a team, playing for that trade, and you need to get at least 1 round on the board to start that chain from starting to go.
Yeah, you see the rookies as well. 1-4 from Nero, 0-4 from Cap.
Oof.
Just off the mark again from Clay. Bullet nearly picks Cap's head off once more. First kill does get traded out. So Neptune with control over that bomb site, and by Cap being in that position, it is going to be a free plant over at A. Boston looking to siphon everybody through the train station, but Nero doesn't check both ways before crossing. He gets picked. TJ is there for the trade. A 2 versus 2, and Breach, you finally have a situation where you're not in a 1 versus 3, but Clay's still holding down with that snipe. Crimsix watching.
They're playing for
over
Clayster.
his shoulder.
They think Clayster's back there.
He's not at all.
No.
No.
They're wasting a lot of time here.
They are.
Only 20 seconds left. Clayster's going to get back into the play. Finds that first kill onto TJ. Now it's all left up to Methodz in a 1v2. That's going to be impossible. And New York, they are just blind countering every single round. Right there, Breach have one player at A, but New York send 3. They get the trade, immediate bomb plant, and then the focus from Breach to think that Clayster was still in the back. Just great work from him to hit that rotation towards Plat.
Yeah, great plays from New York, and Boston just not able to keep up so far in this game 5. Again, the way that first one played, we saw around 11 and just not at all the same. Boston yet to answer, and won't say anything in specific, but hey, not looking great right now for Breach. You know, let's call it out the way that it is. But here we go. Potentially the final round as HyDra. TJ is able to take down 2. Methodz instantly inside of gold, gets ripped apart by Crim. 2 versus 1. Crim for the clutch. He jumps over the top and does get taken down. Boston full send it with the tournament on the line. And they're able to secure their first.
Sometimes when your strategies aren't working, a 4 push one way can definitely go in your favor as long as you're winning those trades. Great plays from them to take back alley control. Capsidal finding 2 on the round right there, alongside TJ, who found another 2 to finally get their first round on the board. Now this can start to build some confidence for them because they had a couple winnable rounds here. They just have to play their lives. Right there, it was beautiful teamwork. They need to keep that up if they want to fight their way back into this one.
Yeah, we'll see what they have up their sleeves. Again, knowing you've got an uphill battle, sometimes it allows for you to play desperate and maybe even a little confident from time to time, but right into B, Boston totally caught off guard because they were assuming it was going to be an all-out aggressive A hit, when in reality, all the opposite. First player here is going to be Methodz. Meanwhile, HyDra spots one running on into Library, shuts him down for the first blood. Meanwhile, TJ's doing some work, traded out. There goes Methodz, and now it's all on to Big Cap. Can he go huge? 1 versus 3. Bomb is down, and there he goes. New York will walk away with the series. A back and forth rivalry game. The one that we hoped it would be, but Breach taken down 6-1. Great series, but just not the way that you hoped it would end there for Breach. Oh! There it is, okay.
Well, it's such a great series from both of these teams, man. Especially such a young Breach roster. The fact that they pushed this New York roster all the way to a Game 5 with 2 rookies on their team. You have to feel for these guys, man. They have such a high ceiling, at least for me right now. This team is only going to get better and better. And then on the side of New York, they get the job done. You know, they win their very first 2 maps. I mean, the first map convincingly. Yeah. They tie it up in the search and destroy, but then the clutch up in the control the way that they did after the reset was beautiful. That hard point, this entire series between both of these teams was stellar.
Yeah.
Unbelievable performance. And I'm happy to see that New York were able to walk away with the win the way that they did. Just dominating that last search. If I'm Boston, just got to go back and just get some more teamwork in your search and destroy, because the respawns, it's there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And like I said, there's a lot of positive to take away. I know we end this, this game out with a solid, or rather a dominant loss in terms if you are the Boston Breach. But like I said, there's a lot of positive to take away from this series. The way that Cap was able to perform, end that game 4. All the hype around this Boston Breach team, which granted, it is one series. You take it the way that you can, but the way that they were able to play, the way that certain players were dominating, the way that they were clutching up at certain moments, I think you're still happy if you're the Breach, regardless of a round 1 exit.
For your very first game, after being the brand new team in the CDL, you have to feel good, man. You're going up against some of the best players to ever touch Call of Duty. You push them all the way to the very end, man. Even though it wasn't the performance you wanted in this Game 5, I just feel like it just came down to a couple situational plays. Like if they play a little bit more teamwork-oriented, not always playing for that trade kill in search and destroy can be a huge factor. Yeah. Because if you lose that man advantage, that's what changes everything. And this was the play right here that honestly changed it for me. Once Neptune finds that 2v3, because there, it was only 40 seconds left. They found that first blood nice and early, but when Neptune finds that 2, works the bomb plan, and then eventually they just clutched up on the rounds, man. New York were great at clutching up during this game.
Yeah, they absolutely were, and that's one thing too that we have to talk about. Boston Breach being as highly regarded as they were coming into this tournament, you know, being in everybody's top 5, if not top 6, coming into the kickoff, the grind that they were able to do, the scrimmages that were obviously constantly on all of our screens, and for New York, off of less than 2 weeks of full-on practice to come through and beat this Boston team the way that they did, it's impressive, man. It really is. You got to give these guys a lot of props. The way that we thought they were going to come into this tournament was, hey, this roster is going to be great at some point throughout the year. Yeah. The fact they're doing it on such little practice, You got to give them props for that.
I know, and it's only going to get more and more scary as we go throughout the season, man, because they're going to be able to develop these young submachine gun players. They're going to get more consistent on maps that they usually don't like to play. Like Gavutsu, they'll clean that up. There's no way they're going to make that mistake ever again. And then also on Berlin, just came down to a bunch of clutch 1v1 gunfights off the rotation. If they win those, they have the potential to close it out there. But just a phenomenal series from both of these teams. Got to tip my hat to young Cap, man. To play against two players like Clay and like Crim in your very first game on LAN, and to do what he did to help his team go to a Game 5, I'm excited to see what the future holds for him.
Absolutely. A bright future for this Boston Breach team, but it's New York right now who are able to take the very first installment of what is going to be a legendary rivalry here in the CDL. But we'll go ahead and toss aside. It's Blaze, joined alongside by Clay.
Thank you very much, Lando. Give it up one more time for the Subliners, everybody. Woo, Clay. Okay, y'all was looking good to start off that series, but at the end of the day, we made it to Game 5. It got close, but as we entered that Game 5, we learned that some things you can't teach, and you only get lessons you learn by going through tough matchups over your career. How did y'all stay composed throughout being in that difficult spot?
I don't know if we did stay composed. It got a little squirrely there at the end, but we had a pretty dominant S&D to finish it. I mean, the maps were pretty close, I would say, all around, except for the first and last map. So if you bookend a series by blowing them out the first and last map, I mean, that's a good thing.
Then that is a good series, right? It's how you finish it. Now, when it comes down to that, your squad, okay? You're back with Crim. You got HyDra and Neptune on your squad. How you finally feeling about this Subliners team, the new squad?
We're gelling. Well, we're getting there. We took a couple weeks off so Paco could go back to France, be with his family and stuff over the holidays. And we got our offices that we're playing out of here in Dallas as a team. We got them going now. So we're just really building that chemistry, building that bond. I mean, me and Crim are a decade older than both of those guys. Double that with experience, you know. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic, but I think we all have a good time. We all know how to joke around, have fun, and best of all, we know how to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, you guys definitely do know how to play some Call of Duty. And even watching you and Crim playing those first two maps, honestly, the show was all about y'all. And I need to figure out, how the hell did you find the Fountain of Youth, okay? Why was you still shooting so good?
Dude, I think I'm like fine wine or something, dude. Just the older I get, the better I get, man. It's great.
Hey, you heard it here, okay? Clay is like fine wine, everybody. Give it up for him one more time. Veli, take it away.
Thank you so much, Blaze. The game fuel victory highlight. And ladies and gentlemen, I was gonna say make some noise. They're already doing it for us, but that was such a phenomenal game right there. We're having fun all around. Game 5 and New York Subliners and Boston Breach. I hope this rivalry lives out forever. But let's go ahead and talk about all this on the desk. I'm Veli, Slacked, Alleycat, and Nameless. Nameless, starting with you, man. It was good seeing Clay and Crim do their thing, right, man?
Dude, it was amazing. And on Book Edge Hardpoint, like to kick things off, they were lining up. Dude, Crim was going off with the MP40, and that is what we wanted to see. Crim stepping it up in this game in that flex role. Like, New York looks good, man. And you saw Studdy and Lando talking about it. Like, they didn't have too much practice. And to come out here and play Breach like that, that's impressive, man. That was a great series to start the Boston and New York rivalry.
Right, and Allie, that is the power of having two veterans being a duo on a team like that. But it's not just them. Let's talk about the sub duos. Oh, the young guys picked it up big time. I love Neptune.
Oh yeah, no, Neptune was like a big playmaker for me because he's so good at respawn. He's so good at hardpoint. But when it came to S&D, especially last year, and we saw it a little bit in the beginning of this series, he seems to struggle a little bit, but he picked it up there in that game 5 and to end it in 6-1, beautiful.
Now, also talking about Clayster once more, Slacked. This is just normal Clay things. I mean, talking about what the 1v2 clutch with the scope and everything else, the man gets it done every single time.
Yeah, man, it's super impressive. I mean, it reminds me of like the Unite days back in the day when I teamed with him with a sniper, just the crazy clutches and all the great plays. And obviously you see in this clip, he makes a fantastic play. He plants the bomber his teammate did for this alleyway. He basically is just playing the time at this point. He knows that the clock is dwindling down and the enemy team has not hopped on this bomb yet. He's playing fantastic. He knows he's playing his timing windows. He sees TJ here in this alley. TJ hits him with an ego chow. He hits a great shot. This right here to me is literally playing with your prey. He knows it's Capsidal. He hits him with a pre-fire shot. He can't even see the bomb and just completely outplays him. Perfect textbook play out of Clayster.
Yeah, and that was also kind of a blunder on Capsidal's part, right? Like, he could have just stuck that defuse and he would have got it because Clay couldn't actually see that side if Capsidal would have stretched it. But you know what's crazy to me is that Capsidal was able to turn it around and start to perform better after a play like that versus Clay on the main stage. You get clutched on, right? Like, you're starting to think like, man, maybe I'm not it. Well, no, he didn't think that. He turned up throughout throughout the second half of that series.
You're right. At the beginning of the day, aLLeY, you're the one that said that Capsidal was kind of flying under the radar. He didn't have, the prestige as Pred or Awakening when they came out of Challengers League. He wasn't at the top like that, but the man is showing that he could bang out with the best of them. Those are legends on that stage.
No, absolutely needed some disgust. He put a couple of them in the blender a few times. And what I'm worried about, though, now is seeing this series go as far as it did with Cap. He pops off near like the end of a map. He starts off pretty slow, and then he suddenly just finds his groove. And sometimes it was just a little bit too late. So I'm worried that he's kind of the do or die for this team.
Right, Slack, man. It feels good to see a rookie pop off like this, and the fans at home love him.
Yep, and you know, for a Boston Breach fan, you're happy with this, right? Obviously, like I said, you're going to use this event as a stepping stone. And I think for Capsidal, you go back, you take off, you know, what was maybe going wrong, why you were starting slow, and you try and add on to that, right? And I think you saw later into the series and even later into some of those maps, he started finding a rhythm, he started frying, and this clip was absolutely insane.
Oh my
I love how the
God.
crowd got behind it, and I can only imagine how he was feeling during this moment.
Yeah, when he went on that big 8 spree, I mean, the crowd got up and started going crazy. I thought everybody in here was a Boston Breach fan.
Yo, when you get your opportunity, like when you come up from the amateur scene, when you get your opportunity in that first big match where everybody's watching, this is a play you want, right? Like, this is what can start some people's career. I know people who've been playing for 5 or 10 years who don't have clips like this, right? So this was exciting to see. This guy, I think, goes on officially a 9 spree, I think is what it was. Like, this guy is a monster for that. And I'm excited for the future and see how he develops, man, especially with that SMG in his hands.
aLLeY, this is the year of the rookies right now, and what we see from them so far, Pred, Capsidal, whatnot, everybody is absolutely bringing it, but I gotta say it, Boston Breach lost in a single elimination tournament, and they will be going home, but we gotta call it. This team is something special. And for those of you out there in the crowd, let's go ahead and make some noise to show them love for the Boston Breach. Let them know we love them.
There we go.
All right, so looking forward, I mean, they're going home. Of course, they're going to be a little bit sad, but you see a big future in them.
Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, you can take a lot of positives away from it. They took New York, a really good team, all the way to map 5, and you saw some good highlights from some of your rookies. You saw Zenni make some good plays to close out that map 4 as well, and TJHaly was kind of getting in that role, so I'm excited to see what they can do over some time.
Right now, aLLeY, we have one more match here on the day. This is going to be a big one. We have LA Thieves facing off against the Paris Legion. And from what we've seen so far, do you think that this one might go down to the wire as well? Coming from the prediction goddess herself?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't want to listen. Paris Legion, their squad is full of vets, right? And I have a lot of love for them. Decimate is a player that, you know, I really have always had high hopes for a year, time and time again. Fellow has made his proving grounds through the challenger scene last year to prove that he still got it, you know? But this team on paper is so weird to me, aBeZy. It just... the chemistry for me just isn't there.
I love it, but you know what? I'm about ready for that. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in so far, whether you're here at the venue or you're either at home. Make sure you can make your way here for Saturday and Sunday as well. But we have one more matchup of the day between one of the newer teams in the CDL facing off against Paris Legion and Slack. I'm saying, man, this has been incredible so far. aLLeY Cat, you've been killing it. Nameless, I love working with you, man. One more today, and I wish it could continue going on, but we'll catch you on the other side of the break for some more CDL kickoff action.